LDBC. This is your boy, Coach Shelton Harrison. You're live on the Coach Shelton Harrison Boxing and MMA Show Live. Okay, guys, I'm gonna tell you do something. I'm gonna tell you do something right now. Um, Kimbo Slice, shout out to Bloody Elbow. They released his medical records, and Bloody Elbow had been getting, they had been trying to get a hold of these medical records for a while, and finally, they got them released. So Bloody Elbow, they don't play around. They don't play around when it comes to this kind of stuff, and that's just the way that is. Um, a couple of things jump out at this, okay? Now you can kind of see where Kimbo Slice, he, checked off his medical history and he checked off a lot of different things, and but one thing that jumped out at me, okay? Here's one thing that completely jumped out at me, and it's that, okay? The high blood pressure jumped out at me. I mean his blood pressure. Now when they, measured his blood pressure, it was 90 over 68. Now some people would say that's normal on the normal end. Yeah, it's normal for a 90-pound woman. Okay, but for a man weighing, during their 160 pounds, 150 pounds, I don't think so. But Kimbo Slice was a big dude. Okay, his blood pressure, even, he was in great shape too. And so I was kind of thinking, how does he have high blood pressure when this guy's in real good shape? But he was a big guy, and I would have even imagined his blood pressure being 120 over 30. I mean 120 over 80, or even 130. Okay, for a guy his size, 120 between 120 and 130 is normal. But I saw this, and I'm like 90 over 68, and he was still allowed to fight. Clearly, something wrong with this doctor, because I feel like, I'm saying to myself, I wouldn't have let him fight. Matter of fact, I would have actually, had him sent, for further evaluation. Okay, I would have had him sent. And that's something indicative. And also, too, here's another thing that stood out to me. Okay, now this is what I know about hearts. Okay, and this right here. Okay, that was indicative of a heart murmur. Now I can tell you something. Okay, when you have a heart murmur, palpitations, that's indicative of some kind of heart problem. It could be an arrhythmia, it could be actual heart disease. But see, we'll never know. What they need to do is try to get his autopsy, and that can be conclusive, and they can tell you if he had heart disease. But definitely, these things should have stood out. Okay, the next thing that stood out to me is that he was taking medication. Okay, now they don't know what kind of medication that he was taking. Okay, they don't know. Nobody knows. Okay, nobody knows what kind of medication he was taking, and again, that's kind of strange. Why don't people know? Why didn't they make him disclose this medication? Like, what is it? Here's my thought. Okay, and I'm going to be perfectly honest. Okay, and I'm not gonna diss Kimbo Slice because he's deceased right now. I'm not gonna diss him. Okay, but I do think that he was using some type of performance enhancing drugs. Okay, I think he was. Heart murmurs at most times you don't even notice them. Okay, you really don't notice them, and especially if you're in great shape like he was, he probably didn't notice a lot of heart murmurs. Probably didn't, but they end up being palpitations, and I know that this man had to feel palpitations in his chest. He had to. Okay, and I think he even had the stages, or probably had full blown heart disease, which once you get that, that's something you can reverse that. But it's just a lot of people don't know that they have it. They just think that it's something normal going on within their body. That's what they think. And he probably didn't know. But I can tell you that this guy should have been shipped off for more invasive evaluation. Not just these eye tests that these doctors like to give and tell you that you're okay, and then you can go in there and go fight. Not those. This guy should have been further evaluated. He should have had EKGs. He should have had chest X-rays. He should have had a full-blown angiogram. I mean, he should have had all of these tests done to really clear him, because I would have immediately, and I'm not a doctor, but I know about heart conditions, heart disease. I know about that stuff, man. I mean, that stuff, it during that ruined my life. And know. Okay, something wrong. Maybe the guy was on high blood pressure. I mean, we don't know. Maybe he was taking something, okay, to lower his blood pressure, and that could be a reason why it was 90. And I'm almost thinking, too, for a man his size, his blood pressure medicine was doing it. Or maybe it was something else. Maybe it was something else that actually lowered the blood pressure as a side effect. Maybe, okay? And I'm going to tell you something, and maybe some of you not going to like this, but I think he was taking a vasodilator, okay? That's what I think. And that's a known type of performance-enhancing drug where what it does is it expands your blood vessels, your arteries, your capillaries. It expands them so more blood can get through the heart. So that means you can pump more blood throughout the body. So that means that you have almost infinite stamina. I guarantee you. Because he used to deal with a lot of stamina issues in the octagon. His stamina was always an issue. And I know that he was looking for a way to try to, counteract his stamina being so low. I think Kimbo was using vasodilators. And, that a vasodilator is not going to come up on a test. It's just not. Okay? I think he used those. And I think that's why his blood pressure was so low. Okay? And it makes crystal clear sense. And maybe, he had to put down that he had a high blood pressure, a history of it, so that he can use a vasodilator so he wouldn't get caught juicing, so they would say. See, this is what I think, and it kind of points to that. That's exactly what it is. And, also, too, when your blood pressure is low, a lot of times your heart will do a lot of crazy things, okay? And it will have a murmur because you know what the heart will try to do? It will try to establish sinus rhythm. It'll do it on its own. And sometimes it may, put an extra beat in there, or it might murmur because really what your heart is trying to do is establish rhythm, the rhythm that it once had before you start putting all these things into your body. I'm telling y'all, okay? I see people, they prescribe vasodilators for people with very high blood pressure, and their blood pressure goes down too low. Okay? I'm even starting to think that this man never had high blood pressure. Think about it. He was a man in good shape. He trained all the time. He worked out all the time. He ate pretty clean from what we knew about Kimbo Slice. Man was a fitness nut. That's all he did was work out. So you mean to say that his blood pressure is crazy high? I'm not saying that it couldn't have been by normal means. But, see, people try to tell you about high blood pressure. They try to tell you that it's hereditary. Actually, it's not. High blood pressure is not hereditary. Now, you may have a predisposition to get high blood pressure. You may have that. But it's usually high blood pressure is caused by a function of how you treat your body. Most of the time, it's by what you eat. Then, two, this man was dehydrated in a fight, okay? Dehydration will raise your blood pressure. But you mean to say his blood pressure, they checked him out, and they deemed him as fine? See, there's something fishy going on. Kimbo Slice family, they need to get on this, okay? They really need to get on this right now. They need to get on this right now, and they need to figure out if this man was allowed to fight. Kimbo shouldn't have been allowed to fight. He shouldn't have been allowed to do anything. This man should have been further evaluated. But you got these medical doctors, man, that are medical doctors for these companies such as Bellator, such as the UFC, Strikeforce. These doctors, they work or they do stuff for the organizations. And guess what? They do that to get these guys in the octagon. It don't do them any good if they say the guy not fit. I'm sure this doctor, being a professional, probably thought to himself, why is a man this big blood pressure so low? Why does he have a heart murmur that clearly you see the heart murmur? Oh, yeah, it's harmless. Right. Any heart murmur to me, that's not harmless to me, okay? That's indicative of some problem going on that needs to be further evaluated. You guys tell me what you think. This is your boy, Coach Shelton Harrison. I'm done. Subscribe.